Elise Pickett here with the Urban Harvest, and today I am going to talk about 3 great cover crops for your summer vegetable garden. Cover crops are a really important consideration for the sustainable and organic garden. If you're growing crops through the summer or fall or whenever, it's always really important to have a lower level cover crop thing. It just helps keep the moisture in the soil and reduces weeding. But even if you're choosing not to grow over a particular season, for most of us here in Florida that would be summer, it's still really useful to have a living cover crop on your gardens for the duration of the summer while you're not actively growing. There's tons of options that are completely maintenance free, and it helps the soil from getting compacted, from drying out too much, and depending on the crop you select, it can either be productive for the table come fall, or it can fix nitrogen into your soil for you without you having to do any work. Sweet potatoes are one of the most common summer cover crops for here in Florida. They, of course, are amazing and taste fantastic, but you really can't beat sweet potatoes as a cover crop. So because they're a root vegetable, they're helping to aerate the soil. So as the root grows, it's creating gaps in the soil, which is great for the root systems of the other plants that will grow in it come fall. Of course, you get to harvest a considerable amount of produce at the end of the season. When you're ready to plant your fall garden, you're going to go ahead and till out that soil, get all of the sweet potatoes. You can get a very substantial amount of sweet potatoes in just one bed. The leaves of sweet potatoes are edible. So if you harvest the young, tender green leaves and the tips of the vines to throw into your salad, smoothies, saute, whatever, you get an added bonus throughout the summer until you get your sweet potatoes in the fall. They do a fantastic job at covering the entire bed very quickly. From planting to covering the whole bed, it should only be a matter of a couple of weeks. They're virtually pest-free, so you won't have any issues with bugs or anything like that where you're going to have to come out and maintain the sweet potatoes. They also are very drought tolerant, so our rains should be more than enough to keep them happy throughout the summer months. All beans are nitrogen fixers, so they actually bring nitrogen from the air into the soil. So they're a great crop to incorporate if you're looking to boost the nitrogen in your soil. Say you had some heavy hitting crops in it before, like tomatoes or something where it really sapped a lot of the nitrogen from the soil. If you plant beans into the beds afterwards as a cover crop, it's going to bring some of that nitrogen back to the soil. If you're growing over the summer, most of your beans are not going to do great. One exception to that is cowpeas. Cowpeas grow fantastic over the summer. They thrive in the heat. They don't need much care or maintenance on your part. And instead of trellising, if you allow them to just climb and meander over the soil, they do a fantastic job at keeping things covered for you. You don't have to harvest the beans if you choose not to. If you literally want to plant them and forget about them, as long as you get them established in the very beginning when they're sprouting as seedlings, you can leave them and they're maintenance free. Our rains should be plenty to keep things going for you just fine. New Zealand spinach is another one that is not as common, definitely at least not for a cover crop, but I've found that it works great as a cover crop. So New Zealand spinach is a leafy green. I have another video that talks all about saving the seed and when and how to plant it. But as a cover crop, it's a nice low-lying plant. It kind of creeps and crawls. Just one plant can cover several square feet of space. And if you plant it towards the center of the garden, it's going to quickly cover the entire bed. I will say this will work better in your part shade beds. as a cover crop. If they're in direct full sunlight, our summer can get a little too hot for them, so I usually save the New Zealand spinach for some of my shadier areas in the garden bed. But it's just another thing that you can incorporate into the garden that's very low maintenance, grows in our summer heat, and produces for you while providing a service for the garden. So it's definitely worth mixing in if you have an area of the garden that's part shade or even full shade. Don't leave your beds to bake in the sun over the summer. I get that it's hot here in Florida and a lot of people don't want to grow all year long, but take the time to throw in a cover crop and take care of your beds so that come fall, they're in tip-top shape for you. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and while you're down there, hit the subscribe button so you're alerted every time a new video comes out weekly, and I look forward to growing with you.